Hi dear friends, good morning. Today we will discuss the chapter of voices, active voice and passive voice in English grammar. But before going to ahead to active voice and passive voice, we want to discuss something about a verb in English grammar. A verb, if we talk about the definition of a verb in English grammar plays a very important role. If we want to discuss a verb in English grammar, we can say that it refers to a happening or any type of existence in a sentence. In simple terms, we may say that a verb refers to a type of action. It may be in active mode or passive mode, or it may refer to any type of existence in a sentence. If we talk about its variants in English grammar, we can say that primary verb and auxiliary verb. If we talk about primary verb in English grammar, primary verbs refers to as the use of is, are, am, was, were, has been, have been. These are the primary verbs or auxiliary verbs in English grammar. But when we talk about modal verbs in English grammar, we can refer to can, could, should, would, might, ought to, etc. These these are the modal verbs. In case of modal verbs, one is necessary to know that we cannot make second or third form of modals. Modals cannot be kept under the category of third form or first form. They cannot accept a verb of third form. In simple terms, so we can say that modal verbs cannot accept a verb in either third form or second form. It always takes a verb of first form. So, in case of modals, we cannot use a verb of second form or third form. It accepts only a verb of first form. But in case of primary verbs or auxiliary verbs, they may take a verb of first form or second form or third form. But in case of modals, they can never take a verb of second form and third form in English grammar. So this is the basic difference between modals and primary verbs in English grammar. But when we talk about voices in English grammar, active voice such as active voice and passive voice, we can say that it is in active voice and it is in passive voice. The basic difference between voices, active voice and passive voice is of verbs. It is only verbs that tells us about its voices, either it is in active voice or it is in passive voice. For a sentence to be in active voice or to be in passive voice, it must have a verb. In the lack of verb, a sentence cannot be made, as we already know. But if we talk about voices in English grammar, there are only two types of voices, active voice and passive voice. In case of active voice, we would require a transitive verb. In the lack of transitive verb, a sentence cannot be made in passive voice. I repeat, only those sentences can be transferred from active voice to passive voice if sorry, if it is supposed to have a transitive verb. Otherwise, in the lack of transitive verb, a sentence cannot be transferred from active voice to passive voice. So guys, here we can move forward to to transitive verb and intransitive verb in English grammar. We want to focus just now here. If we talk about transitive verb and intransitive verb, here transitive refers to a pass, a verb that can pass its action to another object in a sentence. It means if a verb needs an object, it means it is a transitive verb. If a verb doesn't require any type of object in a sentence, then we can say that it is intransitive verb. And as we already know that intransitive verbs cannot require a transitive verb. An intransitive verb cannot require any type of object in a sentence. Only transitive verbs can require an object in English grammar. If we talk about objects in English grammar, we can say that a verb can take an object, or a preposition too can take an object in English grammar. Both a preposition and a verb both require an object in English grammar. So if a verb is supposed to have an object in a sentence, then we can say that it is a transitive verb. But when a verb doesn't seem to have any type of object in a sentence, then we can say that it is an intransitive verb. So in case of transitive verb and in case of intransitive verb, it is the basic difference to have an object in a sentence. If a verb is supposed to have an object, then it can be said that it is a transitive verb. But if it doesn't have any type of object in a sentence, then we can say that it is an intransitive verb. An intransitive verb cannot be made its voices in passive form. Only transitive verbs can take an object in English grammar, and they can make a sentence in passive voice. So this is the basic difference between a transitive verb and intransitive verb. So guys, when we talk about voices in English grammar, then we can say that it should have a transitive verb, because in the lack of a transitive verb, a sentence cannot be made in passive voice. So it is necessary to have the existence of a transitive verb in a sentence. Now we can say that a transitive verb, apart from requiring an object in English grammar, there may be one or more than two objects in a sentence. So we can categorize them in primary object and secondary object. In simple terms, we can say that a verb is supposed to have more than one object in a sentence. So we can divide them in primary object and secondary object. But a verb always requires its primary object in a sentence. But if we want to give it not a primary object but a secondary object in a sentence, then it would require a preposition just in order to connect the primary object with the secondary object. Otherwise, both the objects cannot be related to each other. So we would require a preposition in a sentence. In other words, we can say that if a verb is going to take its secondary object, not a primary object in a sentence, then we would have to use a preposition just in order to connect primary object with the secondary object of the sentence. So in case of objects, it may be two types of objects, primary objects and secondary objects. But if a transitive verb is going to take its secondary object, not a primary object in a sentence, then we would require preposition. So, for this purpose, we can say that in a sentence there may be more than one object in a sentence. Now we want to discuss voices in English grammar. In case of voices, if we want to make a sentence in passive voice, if we want to make a sentence in passive voice, so we would require a verb or transitive verb, a transitive verb. We would need a transitive verb in a sentence. So while transferring it from active voice to passive voice, the place of subject is taken by an object and the place of an object is given to the place of a subject. In other words, we can say that in case of active voice and in case of passive voice, only the places of subjects and objects are supposed to be changed. We can say that the place of subject is taken by the object and the place of object is taken by the subject in English grammar. So this is the real fact. When we try to transfer a sentence from active voice to passive voice, then all the places, either it is the place of subject or it is the place of object in a sentence, both changes, and the place of both, either it is the place of object or it is the place of subject, both are supposed to be changed. So this is the fact. Apart from this, the verb which is used in active voice, while if we want to transfer it from active voice to passive voice, its form can also be changed. So if it is in first form, it can be transferred from first form to second form. Third form. In passive voice, the form of verb is supposed to be changed, and passive voice verb is always in third form. So we can say that while making a sentence from active voice to passive voice, first of all, we would have to replace the place of subject and the place of object, and we would have to replace the form of the verb from first form to third form. So this is the basic difference between active voice and passive voice. Now the question arises in our mind, how to identify a transitive verb in a sentence. How to identify? This is the question. If we are going to identify a transitive verb in a sentence, we would have to ask only a simple question to the verb. What? If its answer is a noun or pronoun, then we can say that it is a transitive verb. If its answer is not a noun or pronoun, then we can say that it is not a transitive verb. So this is the basic pattern through which we can identify a transitive verb or intransitive verb in a sentence. If it is a transitive verb, then it would require an object. If it is an intransitive verb, then it would not require any type of object, because only transitive verbs are supposed to have an object in a sentence. But in case of intransitive verbs, they don't require any type of object in a sentence. So we can say that in case of transitive verbs, if we want to identify it in a sentence, we would have to ask only a simple question. What? If its answer is a noun or pronoun, then we can say that it is a transitive verb. If its answer is referring to a place or a time or a condition or a reason, then we can say that it is not a transitive verb. But it may be an adverb of place, adverb of time, adverb of reason, adverb of action, adverb of condition. but it can never be a transitive verb because it is not requiring any type of object in a sentence. It is requiring only a reason. It is requiring only a position. So, in case of transitive verbs always demand an object. In the lack of object, transitive verbs cannot exist in a sentence. Now, we want to take some of the examples of transitive verbs. Suppose, if we say that the birds are flying. Birds are flying in the sky. Birds are flying. Here, fly. Fly is a verb, but it is not a transitive verb because it doesn't suppose to be requiring any type of object in a sentence. Because here the basic need of object is supposed to have a preposition, but not to have its own verb. The birds are flying in the sky. Birds are flying. Here we want to ask only simple question to the verb. What? Is its answer is a noun or pronoun? No. Its answer is not a noun or pronoun. But its answer is referring to a place where. Its answer is referring to a place where the birds are flying. If you want to a simple question to verb, what? Flying. Its answer cannot be a noun or pronoun, but its answer is referring to a place. It means it is referring to an adverb of place. So we can say that it is not a transitive verb. Had it been a transitive verb, it would have required an object. But here it is not requiring any type of object. But here a preposition a preposition on is requiring an object. But our used verb is not requiring any type of object in the sentence. So we can say that it is not a transitive verb. Birds are flying in the sky. So if we remove the preposition from this sentence, then what would be the structure of the sentence? Birds are flying sky. Birds are flying sky. Here verb is not requiring any type of object in the sentence. So we can say that it is not a transitive verb. And here we would require a preposition. So if in a sentence object is not taken by a verb, but an object is taken by a preposition, then we can say that it is an intransitive verb. In case of transitive verbs, a verb always requires its own object. But in case of intransitive verb, a verb doesn't require any type of object. So we can say that here the used verb is intransitive form. If I say Mohan flies a kite. Mohan flies a kite. It means here fly, the verb in the form of fly is a transitive verb because it is requiring an object. Mohan flies a kite. The object of the verb is a kite. Here fly is a transitive verb because it is supposed to have an object. Here we can never use a preposition because in a sentence if a transitive verb is supposed to have to take its position, then there would be no need of preposition, because transitive verbs are supposed to take its own object directly, not through the use of a preposition in a sentence. So transitive verbs can take its own object directly. We cannot add any type of preposition between a transitive verb and its objects. So we can say that a transitive verb always requires its own object just immediately. So now we want to focus on some other examples. If I say Ram killed Ravan. Ram killed Ravan. Here we are using a transitive verbs because a transitive verb is supposed to have an object. So here we want to focus only simple question to verb. What? Ram killed Ravan. What? Its answer is a noun or pronoun. So we can make it in passive voice. Ram is a subject, Ravan is an object. Here the existence of subject and the existence of an object and the existence of a verb all exist. So if we are going to transform it from active voice to passive voice, the place of subject Ram must be given to object. So in case of passive voice, we can start the sentence Ravan was killed by Ram. Ravan was killed by Ram. Here the place of subject is taken by the object, and the place of object is supposed to be taken by the subject in a sentence. So we can say that if a sentence is supposed to be transferred from active voice to passive voice, then it is necessary to replace the place of subject and the place of object from each other. So we can say that the place of subject is taken by the object and the place of subject is Ram. So Ram's place is taken by Ravan and Ravan's place is taken by Ram. So we can say that Ravan was killed by Ram. So in some examples we would have seen that the use of preposition in the transitive verbs, we can never use a preposition because transitive verbs take their object immediately. But in case of if we are going to transform it from active voice to passive voice, then we would have to use a preposition there. We would like to take some examples. Ram marries Sita. Ram marries Sita. Here we cannot use preposition to because marry is a transitive verb and it would require its own object. So here Sita is an object of verb. So we cannot use here a preposition. But if the same sentence is going to be transferred from active voice to passive voice, we can use a preposition there just in order to show connectivity. That we transfer the sentence, if we change the sentence from active voice to passive voice. Sita is married. Sita is married to Ram. Sita is married to Ram. So in this sentence, Ram marries Sita. Ram is object. Ram is a subject, and Sita is an object. If we change the structure of the sentence, the place of subject is supposed to be taken by object, and the place of object is supposed to be taken by the subject. So we can say that Sita is married. Sita was the object in the sentence of active voice, but in case of passive voice, Sita working as an object in the sentence is here. Although it is a subject, but it was an object, but here it is working at the place of a subject in the sentence. So the place of subject is supposed to be taken by the place of object. So we can say that Sita is married. Sita is married. Now here we want to show the relation, but just in order to show a relation in the sentence, we would have to use a preposition here. Sita is married. Sita is married to Ram. If we are going to use by or to or with, there are some prepositions and their use is applicable according to the used verb in the sentence. We cannot use a preposition either by, to or with according to subject or according to object, but we can use them according to the used verb in the sentence. I repeat, all types of prepositions can be used in the sentence not according to the subject or object in the sentence, but according to the used verb in the sentence. So Sita is married to Ram. We cannot say that Sita is married by Ram, or we cannot say that Sita is married with Ram. Sita is married to Ram. So we would like to take some other examples. If we say that Mohan goes to school, Mohan goes to school. Here we have used a verb, go. Can we say that it is a transitive verb? No, it cannot be said to be a transitive verb. Why? Because if we want a question, we want to ask a question to the used verb in the sentence. What? Mohan goes to school. What? Can its answer be a noun or pronoun? No. Its answer cannot be a noun or pronoun. Its answer will be an adverb of place. Because here school is working as an adverb of place. School is not working as a noun in the sentence. School is working as an adverb of place. Ram goes to school. We cannot say that Ram goes school, because school is a noun, but to school is referring to an adverb of place. I repeat, school is a noun, but to school is referring to an adverb of place. It is not working as a noun here due to the use of preposition. So we can say that Ram goes to school. Go is an intransitive verb because it is not requiring any type of object in the sentence. The need of object is supposed to have in case of preposition, but not in case of used verb in the sentence. Here we can say that preposition is requiring an object, but verb is not requiring an object. So we can say that this sentence cannot be changed from active voice to passive voice because there is an intransitive verb in the sentence. Had there been a transitive verb in the sentence, then we would change, we would have changed it from active voice to passive voice. But in the lack of transitive verb, we cannot change the sentence from active voice to passive voice. So here we would like to take some other examples, but we don't have more time. So here we would like to end the class now. We would meet in our next class. Thank you.